Welcome to another episode of Charlie Drives. We are in the Land Rover Defender, finally, after about 2 years of ownership now. So we've had the car for 2 years. I've been putting this video off for quite some time now, mostly because of COVID and of course for other reasons, such as some of the slightly disappointing things about the car that I will talk you through. But don't worry, this isn't a totally doom and gloom video, because actually the car, beyond some of the customer service issues, is actually great. You know, it's really, really good. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. So we bought the Defender, as you know, and I'll include links to some of the previous videos or the original playlist of when we bought the car. So we bought the car 2 years ago, just after we collected it just after lockdown started to lift, and I think that was probably the cause of some of the issues and things like that. I think COVID has impacted a lot of businesses from just an operational standpoint, as well as from a financial standpoint. And I think, you know, things were probably a complete nightmare when COVID struck and part supplies being difficult to get hold of. We were very lucky to get the car on schedule. We didn't, as discussed in a previous video, we were not aware, we had heard nothing throughout COVID, and then we just got a phone call saying, your car's ready. So it was all good, and you can watch the collection video, as I said already. We did mention some of the niggly issues that we got, and actually that is it. It's just niggly issues that we've got with this car. There's nothing critical. There's nothing mechanically wrong with it. Mechanically it's sound. It's not let us down. Great car from that perspective. But when you buy a brand new car, for the price that we paid, there are certain things that you just expect, right? And the most annoying issue that we've had with this car is this A-pillar here, right? The A-pillar it's a nightmare. When you're going on long journeys and you're on a motorway, if it's a particularly windy day, you're doing between 70 and 80 miles an hour. So when we're in France and stuff, doing long journeys and things like that, we're probably averaging around that sort of speed on the motorway, right? The sound from this is so loud when you're doing those sorts of speeds for a long period of time. It's incredibly annoying. We've done 2 trips to Spain. Trust me, it's quite annoying. And I'll give you a preview of that sound itself. The car has been back to Marshall's, Cambridge, countless times. I've actually lost count of how many times it's gone back for them to resolve the issue. And every time it goes back, they say, yeah, we fixed it. And when we drive the car, there doesn't seem to be any difference whatsoever. Now, I've got evidence that they have removed the outer shell of the A-pillar on the outside of the car, because they've done it so many times, they've actually scratched the paintwork, which they've also said that they will resolve. But here we are 2 years later, still not fixed, and we've been I don't know, we've just been messed around a little bit, to be honest. I think there's been so many appointments booked. There was actually a really funny situation before we went away last summer, before we went to Spain. We wanted to get it all sorted, of course, before we had to endure it for another long journey. And we had it all booked in. And we called them up the night before, because we were going to drop the car off the night before. And we said, just confirming we're dropping the car off. And they said, we haven't got the parts. So this was the day before, or the evening before, that they were due to be resolving the issue, and it had been booked in for quite some time. So it took a call from us to confirm to them that they didn't have the parts to do the job. I don't know what those parts are, but they didn't have the parts to do the job. So we could have just driven the car down there, wasted our time to find out the same thing, because they never confirmed, they never called us to let us know. So it's just been a lot of backwards and forwards like that. The ball is now well and truly in Marshall Cambridge's court. The reason why I'm saying Marshalls and not Land Rover is because I don't want this video to be a slating of Land Rover itself, because actually I like the brand, I love the brand, I think they're really good cars. This is a great car. I think they've done a fantastic job with it. There's so many, you can see so many of these Defenders on the road. I remember when we first picked this up, that like you just didn't see any, but now you see a lot. So they're doing a good job, and I hope that the majority of customers who are now collecting their new Defenders are not having the issues, or there's kind of like entry level issues, I suppose, because it's a brand new car, new production line, all this other stuff. You will always get those minor faults, minor issues and things. So hopefully people aren't getting those problems now. So it has been a challenging time, and it gets to that point where you almost lose the will to live with it, and you lose interest in trying to sort the problem out. But I wanted to give you guys an update, because it's been 2 years. We've done 13,000 miles in this car. It's been a long time since I've done a video on this car. So, and I know there's been a lot of questions, how's the car doing, all this other stuff. So we are going to do a series of videos, because there's all the camera gear falling down. I'm very mindful that I can't get it all done in one video, otherwise it would just be really long. So we will do a series of videos on this car over the next few months, and I'll also keep you posted on all of the things that we are trying to get resolved. But generally, yeah, just going back to the whole issue that we seem to just have with Marshalls, I didn't really get this across in the collection video and stuff, because I didn't want to put a downer on it, but it kind of started right at the beginning. Ever since we collected the car, and actually, to be honest with you, before we even collected the car, they actually posted a social media they posted on social media a video of this after they collected it. They actually used this car as an example. And of course we could recognise it, because we were one of the first to collect it. It was the only one in the spec that we ordered, and they decided to post it on social media, so we saw it.
We have just received our first Land Rover Defender, the new one. They are absolutely amazing. So I just wanted to show you them. We'll have a little look at this green one here. So this is finished in Pangaea green, which is the metallic paint. It has the black pack with the black badges. I can't explain to you how excited we are to have these here, and I know a lot of people have been waiting a long time to see these.
And it's kind of like, it's one of those things, you know, when you buy a brand new car, you don't really want to see a video of your car before you go and collect it. But I didn't mention anything about that, because, you know, it was my wife's first time buying a car, or buying a brand new car, and we wanted it to be a good experience. Then on the day of collection, we find that there's been a mistake with the spec, and we spec'd heated seats in the back, and the car arrived without them. So So I don't know how that happened. But anyway, you know, again, we were promised, oh, you know, we'll give you parts at cost price and all of the standard kind of sales spiel we were given, you know, but ultimately nothing's really materialized. And furthermore, it's just been frustrating to deal with the situation. And I do think it's probably a failure from the management level somewhere in Marshalls, going down to much more junior members of staff. They just don't seem to have a clue of what's going on. No clue of history of what's going on. They actually even called us saying, "Oh, we're expecting your car tomorrow." We hadn't been told about that. We hadn't actually booked an appointment. And even if we had dropped the car off that day, again, they still don't have the parts. So we're still waiting from them to confirm when they have the parts to sort out this problem. There's been a few other weird issues that just sort of seem to pop up from time to time. The other day, I got into the car and tried to drive it out of the driveway, and I couldn't select any gears. Had to turn the car off, lock it, unlock it, reset the system. I don't know what was going on there. We've had some very strange issues. Apple CarPlay just stopped working for quite a long period of time. It wasn't the cable. Don't worry, I tried lots of different cables. It wasn't the cable. Had something to do with the port. So that had to get solved. That did get fixed. And we've had a few issues where you plug your phone in and nothing happens, and eventually Apple CarPlay springs to life. But again, it's getting to one of those. It's getting to the stage with these cars that it's less of a mechanical issue. It's more of a I guess a software issue, software development issue, where you're trying to identify small bugs in software. They sometimes happen, they sometimes don't. Replicating the issue is sometimes hard to achieve, so it's difficult to explain sometimes when you drop the car off how to replicate a particular issue. They might try it and it might not happen. We've all had that happen to us in software, so it's tough. But the experience, it just hasn't been the best experience. It hasn't been the best new car buying experience. And if you watch my previous video from Marshalls Ford, it's night and day by comparison. The customer service is incredible. And the funny thing about that is I never bought a car from them. I didn't buy that car from them. I bought it secondhand from a friend. And they're brilliant. They are really, really brilliant. So I just don't know what is going on with Marshall Land Rover in Cambridge. I just don't know. And I don't know if this is an issue across the rest of the dealer network in the UK. I'd be interested to hear in the comments some of the experiences you've had with them. But I think it's important for the likes of Land Rover to know about these things firsthand, because the current dealer network and the issue that we're having, whilst it might not be related to Land Rover itself, it could potentially be quite damaging in the future to the brand. So I think it's one of those things that it's important for everyone to know about, and that's why I've been hesitant to do this video. I've been thinking about it really carefully, about exactly what to say and stuff like that. So yeah, it's never nice. I don't like complaining. I'm not one of those guys who just goes on and becomes a keyboard warrior and writes only negative reviews. Actually, I don't think I've ever written a negative Google review, only positive ones. So yeah, this is a bit of a pop, and I'm hoping that something will get done about it at some point soon. Anyway, moving on to some of the more positive stuff, because I didn't want to make this video a completely negative one, because the car in itself is great to drive. It's lovely. The spec, apart from the look, there's another Defender. It's quite funny as well. You sometimes, I mean, obviously I was just saying thank you to him, but he gave me a bit of a wave as well. So it's quite nice as well. You have that kind of camaraderie. But anyway, so looking at the positive sides of this car, it's a fantastic drive. The driving experience is great. This is always our go-to car when we want to go on a long journey. As much as I would really like to take the truck, this is the car we take. It's great for the family. Everyone can fit in the back. Taking it to Spain, we can fit so much in the boot. It's ridiculous. I even managed to fit a mountain bike in the boot amongst all of our other luggage. That's how good the boot space is in this car. And it munches the miles. I mean, we've done 13,000 miles. We obviously drive through France and Spain to get to where we go to in the south of Spain, and it's fantastic at that. It really is. You can sit on the motorway for hours at pretty high speeds, no problems at all. The fuel economy's pretty good as well. I mean, this is don't forget, this is a 2-litre D240. So I'm incredibly impressed by the amount of power that you get out of this engine, the efficiency from this engine as well. The fuel economy is fantastic. I mean, I recently reset the MPG on this before we went to went and did another long drive up to Scotland, and I think we pretty much averaged about 35 miles to the gallon, and that's just, that's not driving. That wasn't driving too conservatively either. So from a fuel economy perspective, it's very good. It's so much better than my truck. My truck, I really struggled to get anywhere near to 30 miles to the gallon. So this is fantastic when it comes to that. And I imagine that, eventually when we might think to replace this car, hopefully we get the issues sorted out before we decide to do that. But it would be nice to potentially look at one of the cars with the bigger engines in it. I know that there is a plug-in hybrid. To be honest with you, I'm totally out of touch with what's going on with the Defenders, but I think that might be a sensible step in the next direction with this car. And yeah, as I said, it drives so well. Just putting your foot down and the power, just the pickup in it, it's great. You really don't feel like you're driving a 2-litre 4-cylinder diesel engine. I mean, it really is good. They've done wonders with this engine, and I think that's fantastic. One thing actually that I think people might find interesting, and I remember this from when we first picked up the car. I do remember a lot of people complaining about the seats. Now, depending on what seats you spec'd, some people were having real issues with sort of marking on the seats. I don't know whether it's wear on the seats, but a lot of people were having issues with very early on sort of wear on those seats. And I think this was all dependent upon which seats you spec. Luckily, we spec the luxury leather seats, and as you'll see, they're in really, really good condition. We keep the car clean. We look after it ourselves. It's a really easy car to clean as well. So super easy, especially, only from the inside. The outside is another story. It's a huge, huge car. You forget how big it is. So much bigger than having to clean a Lotus. I can definitely tell you that. But yeah, other than that, we love the car. We do really love the car. So don't get me wrong. It's not been the crappiest experience ever. It's just annoying, and it's stuff that you just would expect shouldn't be difficult to get right. That's it. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be very interested to hear your views, whether you've had any similar experiences to us. I do know that there were other early Defenders that had rattling issues. There was a courtesy car I was even given which had the same rattling issue from the A-pillar, as did, actually it had really bad rattling from the doors. So again, just be interested to know what everyone else is getting. If you're a new Defender, if you're new to the Defender ownership experience, let me know if they've fixed the problems finally. It would be really good to know that. And anyway, yeah, leave a comment, give the video a like, and please subscribe. Making a subscription to this channel makes a huge difference. And it motivates me to get more videos out the door. If you guys are subscribing to the channel, it means to me that I'm doing a good job, and I'd like to think I'm doing a fairly good job with the YouTube channel. I know there was a big break in between, but I'm committed to doing monthly videos as a minimum, and I think as summer approaches there will be more videos coming up very soon. So keep subscribed, give us a like, and I will see you for the next video. Take care, guys. See you later. Cheers. Bye.